13 months ago, we set about building our own liquid fertiliser cart with no super shed to store granular fertiliser in bulk on the farm and nowhere to store it in bulk bags. Naturally, our solution was to simply use liquid fertiliser as we had a better means of storage. At the time, we originally ordered a 1500 litre tank from Querco for this liquid cart. However, it didn't rock up in time, so we simply used a 1000 litre shuttle and the ratchet strap of steel on top of the chassis of what was the Forward Engineer 660. We put this to work in July 2025 for our seeding program. Our intention with what we're calling Mark II of this design was to take what we learned from Mark I and build upon and improve it. In June 2026, we dismantled Mark I and got it prepared for the conversion process. In this video, join us as we take this chassis and turn it into a completely different liquid cart design. There were some stuff ups along the way and a lot of trial and error to get this design to work. Can this cart work as a Boomless nozzle sprayer? Find out this week on TJM Farming. G'day everyone, my name is Noah and you're watching TJM Farming here on YouTube. If you're new around here, we are a West Australian wheat and sheep farm on the banks of the Moore River. Alright, some housekeeping duties we've got to get out the way first before we jump into the action. Some people may have spotted on my community page that I went train riding, if you will, for my 21st birthday. If the video run time allows for it, we'll show that footage right about now. A normal 21-year-old would probably, I don't know, go to the club or something. What am I doing for my 21st? Out the window of a Hotham Valley Railway. Thank you. But that's enough waffle about trains. We're a farming YouTube channel at the end of the day, so let's get back to some farming content, shall we? So you join us on Friday morning. Rain is coming. You can see the clouds over there. They'll be crossing the coast and we'll be having some rain this afternoon. We've got the Marshall Multispreader over here with a bunch of shit on the back here. This is the C90 stuff. In the last long form video that was out to the public, we did a bit of a trial plot where we spread some C90 out. If you don't know what it is, basically in a nutshell, the C90 is like a trace elements mix, and it's meant to be a dual purpose one, meaning you can use it as minerals for the sheep and also spreading it out on pasture and on the crops as like a fertilizer. Last night we went and loaded 200 kilos of the stuff out of the bulk bag, shoveled it into the loader bucket, which then went and put it in the spreader. Dad went and spread it all through the little paddock in there, but we've still got about, 50 meters worth of stuff left to go. So this morning we're going to take it out to do a little experiment. One other thing to mention too, the red tractor's out of action. Something's gone in the hydraulic pump that runs the forklift. It tried to catch fire the other day when we were doing stuff with the liquid cart. Again, that's something we're probably going to be doing this weekend. Finally getting that little tank put onto the cart chassis, which if you've been paying attention in the videos, you would know that it's slowly been coming together in the background. There's the little test patch of oats that we sown earlier. That's coming up beautifully. That's where we tested the combine a couple of months back and we swapped the knife points back over. Right, that should all be engaged. And in theory, that should now be spreading. I can't see any product going out the back though, but that video is definitely turning. So that is now empty. Aside from this stuff, it is coarse. It's like little bits of salt. This is a working example of what the spreader looks like out the back when it's in motion. Don't go too close to the blades, Bindi, they're sharp. That's a good idea of what it looks like when the PDO is running. Obviously they'll spin much faster when the tractor's at higher revs, but yep, it's empty now. So I'll turn the PDO off, push remote 2 forward, and that's gonna shut this hydraulic ram, which will then pull the lever at the back here and shut the trap door. So are we going holus bolus on this regenerative stuff? No. No. We're not going full regenerative holus bolus into it, because with these things like the C90 and the micro start, which we're going to be doing later on this weekend, hopefully, stuff like this, it takes time. There's sort of like a phase out process where you still got to use the synthetics, but the reason why we're doing trials is we've got to try and see if shit works. Because if you don't try it, how the hell are you going to know if this stuff's good or not? Farming is full of science experiments, trials and tribulations. You got to try things out. You got to have a curious mind to see if things work. You don't go holus bolus investing everything into the one product. This is just a little trial experiment this year to see what it does. That stuff that I chucked out the back there on the pasture, that's going to be our pasture trial plot. And the other stuff that we spread last night in the little hay paddock, we'll see the effects in about a month's time. As far as I'm concerned, yes, we need to make sure our soil is healthy. Because if the soil is healthy, it has microbes, it has earthworms. And the earthworms are really important because, you know, they make the soil healthy and you got good shit in there. And if the soil doesn't have good shit, crops and pasture don't grow as good. And the crops and pasture don't grow as good, you're not making as much high yield and your sheep won't be doing well. That's the aim of the game here. If you're in farming for money, what the fuck are you doing? Farming is not a money-making industry. Yes, we need to make money and break even as a business, but money shouldn't dictate everything. The goal of a farmer is to look after the soil, look after the plants and the animals and the flora and fauna under your care for the benefit of the earth and the human race. That's what it is. And I know a lot of people in farming, especially the old guard, use sustainability, animal welfare, all these buzzwords. They don't really work out. Tara raised a really good point in her video that dropped yesterday. Again, spewing that I didn't go to Lamx, we'll get there next time. She raised a really good point. Having old mate in his boots walking down Burke Street, talking to other people and throwing out these buzzwords, that's old marketing. That doesn't really capture the full story. That's what people like myself, like Jeffrey, like Tara, all of us on YouTube, that's what we're trying to do. We didn't pick up our cameras and phones to start filming out the paddock because we wanted to. It's because we wanted to, yes, but also to connect with the people that at the end of the day we are ultimately feeding and clothing. This is what the liquid cart's looking like right now. Currently it doesn't hold any liquids apart from the hoses, which is still leaking shit in it. Yeah, it's a bit of a mess right now. It's a bit of a work in progress. We got primer on this side and a bunch of green paint on this side. This is only the first coat. Yes, it does look a bit messy and all over the place, and I have run out of the green stuff. At the end of the day, the reason why it's painted in John Deere colours is to match the 7810, and also if we're going down the road of combine rebuild, which is what I'm going to be calling it, this is going to match the 753 and it's going to be in between the combine and the tractor next year at seeding time. Good news! The sheep have touched the C90. This is in the racetrack paddock, and those are our white taggers and the dry ewes. They've been going at it quite a bit. Cleaned it right out, so yeah, they're definitely touching it, meaning that the C90 is not a waste of money as a mineral. Don't know if the actual main ewe and lamb mob has touched theirs though. We'll find that out.
The dry ones.
Yeah.
There, yeah, over there, there's a lamb, one lamb.
Yeah.
You with a lamb. Yeah.
You with a lamb, okay.
New one.
New one. We shall have to pull her out eventually. So, a couple of weeks back, I got a comment asking, why do we use tines and points instead of, say, discs? Well, Dad and I were just discussing that. Tines are typically better for like growing cereal grain crops, whereas discs are sort of better for pasture. They're expensive. That's factor number one on the cost. Although, if we go down the path of rebuilding the combine and taking off the old Chamberlain tines and putting the Ryan tines on, we could get an option to swap it between points and discs fairly easily to dry discs out. Really, discs are better for pasture, not necessarily on the rocky country. On the rocky country especially, it's I'm not sure. I'm willing to give it a go, but it's funds. Funds are the big thing that limit everything. Could we convert the flashiest combine we've ever owned to discs? Yes. It should be able to fit under the frame. That's if we go down the path of putting Ryan tine stuff on it. Again, funds. Funding is the big factor there. Gentlemen, hello. Have you been eating your minerals?
No.
No, haven't touched them yet. Okay, so for additional context for our viewers, that's the C90 stuff. We had it in that container over there, but the Rams decided they were going to break it. They completely broke through it and smashed the plastic. I guess they wanted something to bash instead of their heads or something. You're alright, boys. We'll leave you alone now. Right. Today is the day that the liquid cart is getting its tank. go. Whoa. Bring it back a bit. Oh shit. We've got a problem.
On this.
Oh no.
That's what I was planning.
This was that, yeah. But instead it looks like it's got holes there. We've done the measurements. We thought it was 1200 mil wide on the frame. Turns out the 1200 mil is the widest diameter of the tank, not the frame that goes beneath it. Healthy bit of advice. When you're talking to brands like Kawerco about making custom tanks for your own liquid cart inventions, make sure that the frame at the bottom is the right diameter, not the actual diameter of the tank itself. Otherwise you end up in this shit show like we are here. Well, it looks like we're gonna need to do some bush mechanics.
Just see if we can get that to sit. I know the bolts are sticking up, but see if it will. This front part, if I maneuver it.
Yeah. Shuffle it back a bit. Oh, that's not going to work because that's caught.
Yeah, oh, it's gone fucking lopsided. Why?
Yeah, it's because of the cog and that bit of square bar on this side. It's caught. That's the reason why I was trying to tell you to try and lift it up and shuffle it back a bit.
Well, I was trying to line it up.
Oh, fuck! It's rattling a bit, but we're okay. Okay, so I'm going to use some pictures that I took with my phone to illustrate. In a nutshell, in the previous clips of this video, we had a slight accident. That'll go into the fuck ups of 2026 compilation. Hopefully that'll be just the one, no more after that. In a nutshell, the tank was 1200 mils in diameter on the actual tank itself, not at the bottom. So plan B. Bush mechanics. What you see here are a section of 3 I-beams that are the equivalent to 1315 mils in length, or 1.35 meters, and 1240 mils in width, so 1.24 meters that way. Dad and I cut and welded these onto the frame and made sure it actually fit. We've got the welder over here, but now part 1 of the welding is done. And part 2 of the welding is going to be putting this on top of the I-beams over there. The next step will be to use the loader over there to stick the forks through the lifting chains here, and we'll try again lifting it into place. Hopefully we can get it all welded up today. Down. Yep. If I can reach the other one, there we are. Yep, you good? Take her away. Okay, it's not quite finished yet. Dad's looking for bolt holes to go through there. But this is the prototype mobile boomless nozzle hook thing. I'm not sure. I've got to think of a proper name for it. But the intention is, okay, the boomless nozzle has to go out the back of the drawbar. We know this. Instead of welding a free strut thing that goes from that and that to that, we figured out it'd be better just to make like a drawbar pin with a bit of steel pipe, some pipe clamp at the top, like Dad's bringing over now. And so that's going to go onto the top of there like that and screw it into place once everything's lined up and whatnot. And the idea is the boomless nozzle will now be out the back of the drawbar, so it won't be sending any liquids that we send through it onto the actual frame. And the best part is, hopefully, if it works, the pipe is solid, it won't be rocked about. The only rocking about will be done by the drawbar itself, which, now that I look at it, may have some cracks somewhere in the system. But the idea is, you plug your inch hose into there, like that, it will go through there and shoot out the boomless nozzle. Boom. And it's designed so that it works as a temporary boomless nozzle sprayer, like we're going to be using hopefully tomorrow if all goes to plan, or whenever we go to spray the micro start. And then when we put this back with the combine, we can simply unbolt that, pull this out and take that hose out, and you can have your hose go straight on to the drawbar of the combine. It's pretty clever.
That's got to be screwed in up there.
Properly screwed in.
Yeah, and the one on the bottom does as well. So that should screw into there. Yep, that's going to screw in like that.
Yep.
And that goes on there. And that.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, just got to get the heat gun and heat it. Get the rubber mallet and push it on. And this.
That'll need to come off.
And hopefully that fits, yep. Yep. There we go. Well, that's got to be put on. And then we got to cut it off about there.
Yeah.
And put it on that.
Righto, so you join us on the next morning, and this is what Mark II is looking like at the moment. That's what we're going to be calling this cart from now on. The variant with the ratchet strap of steel and the 1,000-litre shuttle, that was Mark I. This is Mark II with the tank. I did do a bit of a waffle spiel before I dismantled Mark I at the end of June. So roughly around 3-4 weeks ago, I did a spiel on that and explained what the firefighter pump does on this, how this end is for your recirculation hose, which goes up into the top, and this one is the main hose that will go into here, and then you've got this, which is the actual main hose that will run out and send your product out the back. Liquid Cart Mark I actually had the recirculation hose, which this is the original one right here that we took off. That was only like a temporary one, and we had to stick it in the top of the shuttle because there was no actual hose fitting for it to go in. So we had the lid open, and when we were mixing the fur top last year for that. The thing that is going to be really nice, hopefully, to use with Mark II is we've got a proper hose running into the top now. In addition to the recirculation, this is also the fill pipe. So when this is running, this will probably, I think that's where,
suction.
That's the suction. So that's where, like when we empty from a shuttle into here, it'll send it up and into the tank that way, which will probably be a lot better than how we'd have to do it otherwise, which is stand right on the top and undo the lid. Yeah, ever so slightly. It's spraying out, but I don't think it's touching anywhere in between. Okay. That's doing function. We have liquids. It's fizzling a bit. It was shooting it out all sides and now it's just shooting out that way. It's just shooting out that side.
Crap's gone straight in and blocked it.
Working width test, here we go. Not on that side. That part of the nozzle looks like it's
Oh, that one's still blocked.
Yeah. Try this again. Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. Right, good afternoon and welcome to Tuesday. Last night we took the Liquid Cart Mark II for its first trial run and we had a couple of issues. Okay, for starters, the pump is a firefighter, not exactly designed for sending liquid fertilizer through. We needed to flush the firefighter pump before we could properly use the Boomless nozzle because it would get blocked in the actual nozzle parts and it wouldn't spray correctly. After we got that ironed out, we thought we had everything working. We did not. As it turns out, we had to have the whole rigmarole that we do every single time we use the bloody thing on trying to get the FM 750 working again. The only reason why we need the GPS for this instance is because we don't have any form of ridge markers or foam markers or anything that we can tell what our actual working width is, and we need that to also track the amount of hectares that this thing does when it's got 400 litres in the tank. When we did eventually get it going, one of us, we don't know which, we were both very tired at this point in time. It was dark. It was around, I don't know, 6 o'clock at night or something. One of us had the recirculation tap, which goes up into the tank and circulates it and mixes it in. That was open in addition to this one, which sends it out the back underneath the tank and to the Boomless nozzle. So even though the water was actually squirting out, it wasn't going out very fast, and it turns out we used hardly anything across about 2.5 hectares. So Dad's off at work today, and I promised him that I'd have a go at trying to get the auto steer working myself, and if I can, we'll turn the pump on and see if we can actually do this calibration stuff, shall we? Let's try this again. We have got a little bit of scratches of some kind on the screen. I'm not sure if that is anything too bad to worry about. And the touch screen thing is a bit finicky. Freeform on. No GNSS. Okay, we'll give it a moment to wait for the signal to pick up. Cool beans. It looks like This, which is the painting switch, does actually want to work. I wonder if we can go to the hectareage that we've done. Not that. Status. Coverage 2.56 hectares. We'll use that to start with. I wonder if I can reset it. We'll get tractor move over to a new part of the paddock for us to properly test it. No, that is in forwards. So if I really wanted to, I could go round and round and round and make it still dizzy, but nah, I want to go over to where my cover crop is and we'll try on there. Have the painting lines on to start with. We'll jump out of here, out the way, Bindi. Go around this side, choke on. Shut. So if we go around the other side here, fucking go, quick, Vinny, quick. Oh, hang on a minute. Did you catch that? Let's rerun the tape, shall we? It's time to play Spot the Problem. Did you spot it? Yeah? The suction hose was set wrong, so nothing was coming out of the sprayer for that entire 1.5 hectare pass. Gotta love technical issues. Okay, so I went and did about a hectare or so. I come back to find that the Boomless nozzle at the back here was not sending anything out. Right, try number 3. This time, I'm sure we've got it set correctly. This big valve here, it was set the complete opposite direction. And inside, there's like a ball valve in there. That's shutting it off. Because previously, it was trying to send it up here in the other direction. I've set it that way. So now, when I start this up, it should send it out the correct way. Take 3. Go, fucking go! There we are, we're going now. Look at that, it's working! We've built a thing and it's working! That's going down now. So we started roughly at 400 litres. Let's see how many hectares we can do. Go up and around this way now. That is spraying out crooked. We may need to see to that. But it's definitely going down a lot faster. I don't really like going over these bumps. We really need some kind of scarifier or even one of those redback harrow things. That would do wonders for levelling out this pasture. It'd be a big help in the long run. It's mostly only spraying out of one side now. We need to be cautious about that. Yeah, that is under about 100 litres right about there. I'm not sure which direction that's spraying now, or which direction the GPS has taken us for that matter. Yeah, that is spraying up in the air. Why is that doing that? I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be doing that. Right, that looks like it's just about out now. Yes, I know there's a heap of overlap on the GPS screen, but we're just going round and round in circles to empty it. Yeah, that is a trickle. That is just about out right there. What is going on with this? I think it's knocked itself around a bit. Yes. Somehow it's rotated itself. I think we may need to tighten that a bit more. Right, so we've done 3.54 hectares. We're all done now. Let's get off these rough pig ruts and go back to the gator for some further adjustments. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday. I know the video is already at around 40 minutes long. Stick with me. I know a lot of people have already clicked off, but for those of you who've made it this far, a couple of things that I want to clarify before we finish off today's video. I forgot the reason why we were going around spraying water with Liquid Cut Mark II in the first place. Application rate. This is something I waffled on about when I was talking about the likes of the Gold Acres and Hardy sprayers last year. Application rate is very important for sprayers. Normally with things like the boom sprayers, like the Gold Acres and the Hardy, you'd have some kind of control box plugged into like a computer screen in the tractor cab telling you what the rate is. This is completely analog, so we have to work it out ourselves. And the reason why I say it's analog is because of this thing, the old firefighter. Now this thing is completely analog control, like fully petrol power, and the only way to turn it on and off is to go outside and physically pull the choke and turn it on and flip the tap levers here. And the application rates for this is purely based on the same kind of deal with the actual boom sprayers. The speed and the amount of product going through the nozzles at the same time. Now, the first test that I did with this yesterday, it did not exactly go to plan. Yes, we did 3.54 hectares, but as you would have seen in the video, the Boomless nozzle was rocking and shaking and doing all sorts. That was because this bolt that holds the pipe clamp here was not tightened up properly, and the pig ruts in the fire brakes went and knocked it loose. And because you have this thing rattling and doing all sorts in the back here, it kind of made this also rattle loose because of the rough ground. Hence the reason why we got it in the house paddock today, because I was not very happy with the results and I wanted to do a second trial. So after I completely emptied the tank, I took it back to the shed and I put 500 litres in the tank and tried again. These are the settings on the tractor that I was using for the first test with the 3.54 hectares. I was trying to stick to 1700 revs, although I do notice on the footage that it was hovering more towards the 1680 RPM and sometimes up to the 1860 RPM mark. The goal of that test was to try and stick to 9 kilometers an hour, although we did make the tractor be a speed demon and go 10k an hour. So in combination with the rough ground, the speed that we were doing, and the fact that the Boomless nozzle was rocking and shaking and doing all sorts in its little jiggle dance with the drawbar back here, which is also constantly rattling around, as you can see right there, it wasn't giving a very accurate representation of how many litres per hectare we were actually doing. That's what we were trying to calculate. The second test yesterday, as you may notice, it's not at the 500 litre mark anymore. It's more towards the 325, 350 litre mark. So it's just slightly above the 300 litre mark on the tank here. We started at 500 and I did about 1.72 hectares in this little paddock here. A lot of that was overlap, but that doesn't really matter. It's water at the end of the day. So that roughly gives us about 100 litres a hectare, and I dropped it down a gear. In that paddock over there, we were doing C3, trying to stick to 1700 revs at 9 kilometers an hour. I dropped that back a bit, C2, 1700 revs, 8.2 kilometers an hour. That roughly gives us 100 litres per hectare. I know It's not very fast, is it? But that's the point. We need to make sure we get accurate coverage per hectare, not speed demon and not spraying enough or going too slow and spraying too much. That's something we really got to watch with this, but it's a learning experience. Another reason why I chose this little paddock here is because we rock rolled this earlier on this year, so I know it was much smoother, even though it still has a couple of ruts in here somewhere along the line, and also to make sure that this thing actually stayed put, which, as you can see, I've done a good job tightening it. It's going nowhere. So yeah, we've still got 300 litres in the tank. I'll be emptying this afternoon, and we'll be preparing to get the loader's hay spikes ready for converting that into temporary pallet forks so we can actually move the microstart out of the shed and put it in this thing to go spray it on the hay crop later on this week or next week, depending how we go, but you'll see that in the next video. So, to answer the question at the start of the video, did we successfully build our own liquid cart and does it work? Yes. Yes, we did. It's unconventional. We had a lot of problems along the way. We had to add a couple of things, such as this filter here. We bought this from town and it's got like a 30 grit filter in there to try and block out all the extra shit that was in there and also help with the micro start so it doesn't block up the nozzle. Once we got it set right, it works pretty good. So we're going to call it for this video here. If you made it to the very end, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see around here, if you love my waffle spiels or just want me to do more of this kind of stuff you see here, be it with the sheep, be it with the farm machinery, please remember to like, and if you find yourself watching more than one video of mine, consider hitting the subscribe button and also the hype button. I don't mention that enough in my videos. Special thanks to my channel members, special thanks to my combine croppers and my rookie farmhands, Simon, Duncan and Mark, and my one and only Patreon subscriber, Susie. Your support goes a very long way to help us keep doing what we're doing on the farm. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Noah, you have been my audience, and as always, happy farming, people.